So recently I had someone ask me that, they have constructed a chicken house, which is a 2-floor chicken house, just like you see my chicken house right here, 2 floors. And the person wants to keep both layers and broilers in the chicken house. So they want to keep broilers down and put the layers up. Is that something that's advisable? Well, I'll give you the brief and quick answer and also the longer, more explained answer. That way you understand. So the brief answer is terrible idea. Never do that. Never keep layers and broilers in the same chicken house. In fact, never even keep layers and broilers on the same poultry farm. So if you're someone who just wants a brief answer, there you go. Now if you're someone who wants an extended, explained answer, then stick around right through to the end of the video and I'm going to be sharing with you exactly why. So hi guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Dr. Daniel, a retired medical doctor who is very passionate about farming, mainly poultry farming. That's where I do spend a lot of my attention. I started farming about 5 years back, well 5.5 years back. I'm about to make 6 years and I can guarantee you that poultry farming has made me everything that I am right now. Of course, I spent a few years practicing medicine, 2.5 years practicing medicine, but I can tell you that with the knowledge and the benefits that I've gotten from poultry farming, I don't think I would ever have gotten this from medicine over the 6 years that I have. So if you're someone who is very passionate and interested, or even if you're not passionate, but you're just interested in learning as much as you can about poultry farming, about goat farming, because I also do that, sheep, cattle, then you're in the right place. Hit the subscribe button, smash the notification bell, that way you never miss out on an upload. All right, let's dive right into it, yeah? So why should you never keep layers and broilers in the same chicken house? Also, why not the same farm? But also, I'll tell you why I think it is best for someone who is starting to keep just one type of birds, yeah? As you guys can clearly see, on this farm, I only do layers. I've actually never done broilers like on a proper commercial scale. I do help a lot of farmers who do raise broilers, but like me personally, raising broilers, no. Now, I've kept breeders for both broilers and layers, but I don't keep broilers typically, birds for meat, yeah? As of now, I don't have any plans of doing that, and you're going to understand why right at the end of this video, yeah? Now, earlier on, when I was starting out, I actually wanted to do everything. I thought to myself that, if I do layers, then at another point I can do broilers because, sometimes the market might become a problem, let's say with the layers, and, doing broilers might actually be a good alternative for me and things like that. I quickly learned that in the area where this commercial layer farm is, broilers are actually not something that's very desired, yeah? So, as you guys might probably already know, I do have about 9,500 chickens right now that are laying eggs. And if I decided to do broilers, I would probably have to do, numbers that are close to that, yeah? On the scale that I'm doing them, probably doing like, 2,000, 3,000 broilers every week in this area, it would have been very complicated, very difficult for me to, sell the eggs, yeah? So that's the reason I didn't choose to do it. But it was later on, after I learned between the difference in, managing broilers and managing layers and the complexities, that I understood that it's actually a terrible reason or a terrible thing for you to keep both of them on the same farm. Now, just in case you don't understand, broilers are usually kept for about 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks usually, maximum, depending on the kind of farmer that you are or the kind of market that you're dealing with. Yeah, some people prefer to buy the broilers when they are 4 weeks, others 5 weeks, others 6 weeks. Yeah, sometimes 7, 8 weeks, but more commonly 4, 5, 6 weeks. Now, layers on the other side, as you guys can see, this flock here should be maybe 30-something weeks old. Yeah. Now there are flocks which are much older. I have a flock on the farm that's probably getting to 80 weeks currently, and then the flocks stay on the farm for different lengths of time. That's what you need to understand, yeah? Layers, the thing with them is that one cycle of birds or one flock of birds stays on the farm for a really extended time, yeah? You can keep them for as long as 100 weeks. Broilers, you're only going to keep them for 4 weeks, 8 weeks. Now, those two things have very big implications. Imagine I have my flock of layers. For example, this flock right now, let's say it's 40 weeks. If this flock of birds of mine got an illness, they got an attack from a disease, you can try and manage it with antibiotics, yeah, because you don't want to lose it. It's probably just halfway its life, so you don't want to lose it. You don't want it to, you know, die. You don't want to sell it off. You don't want to just lose all the money that you've invested into it until this point of production. So what do? You'll probably start giving it antibiotics and things like that. Its production might drop maybe by 3-5%. Not terrible, but yeah, okay, yeah. But 5% that you're losing out every day is actually quite an amount of money that you're losing on your farm. And then maybe it drops by 10%, yeah. So 10% still, the farm might still be profitable, but you're going to be losing a lot of money each and every day. Now, if the same circumstances do happen on a broiler farm, what would happen is that most likely, if it happens like in the second week, you're going to lose some birds, but by the fourth week, you're done with everything, you're bringing in another flock, yeah? So the risk of disease has a much greater impact on a commercial layer farm than on a broiler farm. Because like we've said, on a broiler farm, after a really short time, you're going to just let go of the birds and bring in another flock. And raising broilers doesn't require so much money, yeah? You don't put in so much money, you know, to get broilers up to 2 weeks, up to 4 weeks, up to 5 weeks, even if it's 6 weeks, yeah? But by the time your layers reach 20 weeks, like you guys do see with my layers here, these layers are, let's say, 40 weeks, yeah? By the time your layers get to 40 weeks, you've spent quite an amount of money on them, yeah? A lot of money, yeah? Now, the problem is that broilers have a high turnover. What a high turnover means is that, imagine this chicken house right here. We do have, you know, broilers at the bottom and layers at the top. Now, these layers are in very perfect health at the top there. You have their perfect health and everything. The broilers, we are having to bring them in every, let's say, 5 weeks, yeah, because we bring them in, you know, 4 weeks, and then we use maybe 1 week to clean out the house, maybe 2 weeks to clean out the house, and bring in another flock. So let's say every 6 weeks, we are doing another flock. So every 1.5 months, we're doing another flock. What happens is that with every flock that comes onto the farm, there's a risk of disease. There's a risk of illness that you're introducing onto the farm, yeah? And that can be a really terrible thing. Because if with every flock that you're bringing in, there's a risk of disease, that means you're increasing the chances of bringing disease for the flock that is up, yeah? So every flock of broilers that comes on poses a disease risk to the upper flock, because it risks introducing, you know, hatchery infections, because some infections sometimes come from the hatchery. If you're buying birds from a hatchery that's not, you know, well protected or things like that, or sometimes it could be an accident. Once in a while, you know, they could have a hatchery accident and you have a disease, yeah? If you bring that disease in from the hatchery and it's amongst the broiler flock, you're going to expose your layer flock, which is at the top floor, with risk of disease, because, I mean, the houses are in close proximity with each other. Even if the workers who work in the bottom floor never ever step on the top floor, there is still a very high likelihood that that disease is going to be transferred, because maybe the guys interact from the outside, yeah, eat food from the same place, whatsoever they do from the same place, that increases the risk. But there is more than just that. That the layers themselves also pose a risk to the broilers, yeah? Because when the broilers do come in, I imagine these birds of mine, they are, let's say, 40 weeks, yeah? Now, these birds at 40 weeks have been vaccinated against literally all the diseases that they could get. So even if, let's say, let's say the causative organism for fall typhoid, even if it comes in the environment, these birds are protected. They're not going to get sick. They're not going to get ill from fall typhoid. Why? Because they have got a vaccine. But they could be moving around with the causative organism, the bacteria that causes, you know, the fall typhoid. Now, that will become a problem, because if you do bring your broilers in at the bottom and your birds at the top already have infections, those infections don't affect them because they are vaccinated and, you know, they have developed the immunity against those infections. But the birds that are going to be on the bottom floor are going to be exposed to that, and that's your day-old chicks. Remember, your day-old chicks are not vaccinated, you know, against a lot of these. They are not vaccinated. For example, broilers are never vaccinated against fall typhoid. They're usually never vaccinated against, you know, E. coli and things like that. You never give them against fall pox. But your birds up are carrying that infection. So if the birds down come in, then you could risk exposing your day-old chicks to that, yeah? And it is for the very same reason that I tell you that you should never have both broilers and layers On the same farm, forget about the same house, on the same farm, the same exact thing, yeah? So, I mean, you're just carrying too much risk for yourself. I mean, like I've always told you guys, when it does come to farming, you're investing quite an amount of money, yeah? You're investing a lot of money, a lot of money. So let's say you invested $10,000, $20,000, $50,000 into your farm. You don't want to gamble around with your investment, yeah? So instead of doing just broilers and layers on the same farm, just do layers together, up and down. Or just do broilers on the same farm. Now, broilers, I usually recommend that you don't do, a 2-story chicken house for broilers, because cleaning is very complicated. As you guys can see, if someone is cleaning up, water is going to come down and all those kinds of things. It becomes really complicated. I mean, even cleaning out the crevices and all those kinds of things. So I don't advise that, you do a 2-floored chicken house for broilers, unless you're going to build it from concrete and you don't have crevices around and things like that, and you can clean it all at once very easily. That's when you can do a 2-floored broiler chicken house. But it's not something that I do recommend. But if you feel like you want to do both broilers and layers, then you must do them on different farms. And different farms means a significant distance away from each other, where you don't have any of the stuff interacting in the area. You don't have anything interacting in the area between the 2 different farms, and then you can now separate them properly, and you're doing it properly. Yeah, so that's the reason as to why I personally believe you should never do broilers and layers on the same chicken house, never broilers and layers on the same farm, and not even in close proximity with each other. Yeah? Separate the farms, proper different places, distant places. That way the risk for disease on the different farms is minimized. And I personally, as I've told you guys, personally do only layers, and the main reason is because I want to focus. I want to keep my attention and focus on just one thing. Yeah, when you keep your attention and focus on one thing, you have a higher likelihood of success than someone who breaks their attention on so very many things. Yeah, so instead of doing 10,000 layers and 10,000 broilers, I would rather do 15,000 layers. Yeah, that way I know I'm focused on one thing and I can help it grow, and I can earn as much as possible from it. I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, smash the notification bell. Catch you very soon with another video. Lots of love. Bye-bye.